Hey guys, what's up? It's Serio Tenon here today with a card overview of Kemono Friends. I'm really wanting to just touch up on what cards I think are best for each, at least for optimizing your Kemono Friends decks, and what cards I think that you should avoid, and why. Now this isn't to say I'm going to be giving you any, optimal list. I myself have been playing around with Kemono Friends quite a bit. I think yellow, green, blue? No, yellow, green, red is probably going to be the best build you can make. But let's get into the cards then and just talk about them and how viable I think each one is. First, let's start off with this Serval, Curious About Everything. It has come into play heal, and it has a pay 2 pitch 1. Pretty small cost as long as you have the climax in and you have 2 cards banished, 2 characters banished. When the middle slot attacks, you get to restand. It also gains power. It's irrelevant for the turn. It's not irrelevant, but it's not what makes the card good. Now then, this is the finisher of choice I believe the Kemono Friends has. It's the only one that doesn't get turned off by the Kaban. However, there's only 2 cards that combo with it, and that's the Kaban that you should be playing in Kemono Friends anyway. On death, this gives you the ability to pay 1, clock yourself, to search your deck for any card, and then banish this as long as you're level 2 or lower. And then as long as it's banished, neither player takes 1 or less damage. It turns off the finishers of a lot of really good decks. However, it doesn't turn off every finisher. So it's not it's good blanket protection against decks that aren't ready for it. So decks like Vivid Strike can't really do much if you do this. Tula Varu, there's not really much they can do either, but pretty good card. It's also one of only 2 cards that banish themselves. The other one is the Serval Rar. When it comes into play, it's a 3/5 for the turn, and when it gets reversed, reveal top. If it's a Friends or Paper Airplane, send it to memory. Now, what's terrible about this is while it does include one of the events you're going to be playing, you probably only play 2 to 3 Paper Airplane. If you're running this Kaban, if you're running, this Kaban right here. If you're running this Kaban right here, you're probably going to be playing things like the Japari Bun event, or maybe even the green event that heals you. That's just more misses. And a climax is already a miss. So you're looking at probably 12 to 16 misses in your deck on this. Because of that, I would honestly rather have this be a pay 1 to go to memory. Just for consistency reasons, because I've been playing this deck a few times. And I've actually struggled to get 2 cards into my memory. I've just stocked all the Kabans early, lost my Servals, and then just kind of cried. Other than that, though, it is a really good card. It still serves as a heal. Definitely should be included in the meta deck because you have to be playing the Kaban anyway. And then this card is free compression when it goes off. And then if you're playing the Banish build, I think that this is a card worth looking at as Kaban Chan. Everything up until now, if you have 2 cards banished, it gains plus 3,000 power and a soul. So it's a 2/1 9/5, so it's overstatted on the attack as well. And it has 2 soul. 1 stock for 2 soul, always a good trade-off. Not really much else to say about that. It's just a good card to keep at 2 of maybe. Of course, you're playing the Kaban Chan. Early play if you have 2 or less climaxes in your grave, and if all of your other characters are Friends or Mecha, it gains 500 power. No, for each other. Sorry. So it's basically an 11/5. And on play, you get to get an event, put under it, pitch a card from your hand to get the event to hand. It lets you get your Paper Airplane and your Jafari Buns. Pretty good card. Also lets you get the green event, some people said. While I heard someone say that 3/3 or 3 stock for a heal and a level 3 isn't worth, I don't think that's exactly how it equates to, because if you're level 2, sometimes this is good, right? Because you get to pay the 2 stock, play this, get the marker under it, then you can get the event, right? You get the event, that lets you heal to hand, and then banish itself. So it's more of having a level 2 option with your events, because otherwise all you have is this Paper Airplane. Paper Airplane doesn't do anything for you at level 2. It's something that is good at level 3, make no mistake, but at level 2, sometimes searching that green event is the right play. Of course, Japari Buns is just check top 4, add 1 to hand. Not really much to say about it. It's a good card, it helps you filter through your deck, helps that consistency. This is your Brainstorm of choice in Kemono Friends. It's the only Brainstorm you really have. It gives a global 500, it's a 1-0 of course, and it has tap itself to reveal top 4, and it's Brainstorm. Search your deck for friends or mechas, so basically every card in the entire set. Add to your hand from deck. Tsuchinoko is, I think, a great tech card. You combo with a standby trigger, which I think that the meta build should be standby trigger, the stock soul for the Serval, level 3. I'll get into why that is just momentarily. So when the standby comes into play, right, you get the option to use this first, which lets you look at the top 2 cards of your deck, and then you get to pitch a card from your hand. Well, this bounces back first, sorry, and then you look at top 2, then you pitch a card. What this means is that your standby trigger, if you have like a level 2 in your hand, or you have a level 1 in your hand that you're like wanting to hold on to, but it would be good to put on the board early, just for pressure. If you play the Tsuchinoko and you play the standby, you don't have to clock draw or like use like a discard outlet to get that card into your grave for the standby. You can just use Tsuchinoko to pitch it when you play the standby. And then it also lets you dig for climaxes without having to clock draw. And then it also gives you information on your opponent's deck, right? It's like when it comes into play, you get to look at the top 2 cards of your opponent's deck and then put them back. This has saved me before, like, right? Sometimes you're like going for like a big play, big push, and you don't know, like, do I want to attack with this first or like what? You look at top 2 cards of your deck, you're like, oh, they got a climax on the second card, so I'm going to attack with this card first, burn 1, get a guaranteed damage. The swing will miss, but that's whatever, and then attack with the next card, right? Lets you know like how bad a position your opponent's in. And if you combo with Lucky, which is a it's this terrible card. I mean, I don't think it's like super serious to play. If you combo with this, if you look at the top 2 cards of their deck, they're both climaxes, you can force them to refresh. Maybe get some damage in that way. I don't think that's serious. I don't think you should be playing this card, really. Unless it's to, like, refresh yourself. Because there's not really a whole lot of stuff you can do. Now, this is the other level 3 of choice, I think, that you play, other than the Servals. Or I think it's a good 2 of, with the standby, right? Because your Servals are restanders, but the restander's prone to getting rest countered. I mean, because that's what the set does, right? And there's a couple other sets that have rest counters. When your center gets rest countered, you can't do the restands on your sidelines anymore. But if you trigger a standby, you can play over the rested Serval with the Lion, pitch 2, pay 2, and then it gets to stand, and then you get to attack with that, and then restand the side lanes. So it's more of like a consistency thing for your restander finisher. And then it's also got like a salvage effect on play, so it's not a terrible card. I do think it is only like a 2 of in the deck, and the biggest complaint I have with the standby is standby only works on your second and third swings. Because if you standby with the card you're attacking, and you play over, your attack doesn't go through. So that's pretty terrible, right? So if your first attack whiffs, or if you trigger a climax on the first attack, it just feels disgusting, right? Because you can't use it. I guess that's why they put the shoe bill in the set, but that's not worth playing. Yeah, okay, this is the other card that I think you have to play at level 3. Basically, I feel like the level 3 game is, it's about 10 cards. I think it's 4 Servals, 2 Gabons, 2 Lions, 4 Mooses. Moose has an early play condition of having 4 cards on board. Which goes back to that Kaban that I said, right? Because if you play the Kaban, because you have 2 or less climaxes, and then you play like another card, then you play Moose, you can heal for... It's 5 stock, it's pretty costly. But you can heal like 2 damage off at level 2, which is pretty good. It's not as bad as like the old days of like Monogatari needing 6 stock to heal 2 at level 2. And then all of your characters gain the following ability. This card cannot side attack when it's on the board. It's because it's got such an easy early play. They had to put some kind of demerit on it. This demerit doesn't really exist. It's not really relevant. I don't know like when you're gonna... I mean, yeah, I get like precise damage. But we'll get into like why I don't think this is relevant downside. It's just a good early play healer, right? It's a reason to play red. And then Hearthfire, the event I keep talking about. Choose one of your characters. Oh no! Whoa! Wrong event. What a terrible person I am. I'm bad at this. Altogether pull. This is the event. This is the event you play. If you have 3 or more friend characters, you get to choose a friend in your clock and return it to hand, and then you banish this. This does not work with the Serval, the level 3 Serval, because the Serval requires it to be friends or mechas in your memory. But it is a card out of your deck permanently. So that means that you're running 12 cards that can permanently be removed from your deck. And it is another heal. So this puts you up to 8 heals if you're running 4 Servals, 4 Moose, and this. Very, very strong. Especially since you're running like pretty strong compression game as well. Your opponent's going to be really struggling. Going on to the next card. Alpaca Suri. Oh my god, I am so bad at this. Boom, Alpaca Suri Cafe Waitress. This is the card you want to play. This is the best thing to use with the standby, I think. Because if you play this at level 1, it has the ability first. Every time you play a friend, it gains 1,000 power for the turn, and T, whatever. T doesn't matter. 1,000 power. And you can rest it every turn, and put a friends from your waiting room into stock. So... as soon as you hit level 1, if you play like Tsuchinoko down, you have the Alpaca in hand, and you play the Climax, you drop this on level 1, that's an extra turn of you getting a free stock, and you don't even have to pay the initial stock. Due to this card, I'm able to get 15 stock on average per game. It just starts to farm stock so hard. It really compresses your deck. Even when you play it on turn, it's pretty good because it immediately replaces the stock. So like it can pay out a Climax and then replace it, and it can also help extend your plays without decompressing you too much. I think it's better than the Green Raccoon combo because you get to choose on your turn when to do it, right? So if you triggered like 2 Climaxes the turn before, you can pay out those Climaxes and then use the Alpaca to get back the stock that you just used. So it lets you maintain like a cleaner stock by being on your turn than like during the middle of attacks like the raccoons are. So I think this is the stock charger of choice. Great card. Should be included at least in anything that splashes the standby. And I do think the standby is the meta build. This isn't like a super great card, but I think it's worth noting. It's the North African Crested Porcupine. So this is the only real ability to salvage out of waiting room the Kemono Friends has. At least that's like decently costed. It's pay 1, put top card of deck into clock when it's sent to grave, and you get to choose a level 1 or lower in your waiting room, return it to hand. Like I said, it's not the best, but if you're playing like Dolphin or anything else where you know like you really need your level 1s, it is a nice consistency card because you have like the Search Brainstorm for deck, but you don't really have anything to grab anything out of grave, which is a problem the set kind of runs into. Commerson's Dolphin, I was told that I didn't explain this card and why I think it's broken. It's not really broken at level 1, like a lot, because you're not going to be tri-fielding this at 1. You're going to be playing maybe one of it down at 1. But it's, you know, it's like a 7k if you play it last. And then you have the ability to resonate and then bounce it back to your hand. I think this card's broken at level 3, because, right, if you've got 15 stock, and you've managed to rip like half of the cards out of your deck, and you're also like trying to swing for precise damage, right? Because it's not like super good, and you can't get the restand combo off for like whatever reason, or whatever, or you're scared that your opponent's got some kind of crazy ass finisher, and if you like leave characters on the board, it's gonna like help them do something, like a restand or like on reverse combo. You can just like tri-field this dolphin, smash into them for 1/1/1, reveal, bounce back to hand, and then they're forced to go at minimum 2/2/2, and then not get their on reverse combos, not get whatever like stuff they're getting. And if you're compressed, like most likely you're gonna cancel 1 to 2 of the swings and not die. So they're most likely gonna do about 5 damage maximum to you if you have like an open board at level 3. And then you have the Kaban banish, so they can't even burn 1. Unless you're playing against Persona. If you're playing against Persona, like, you're fucked. I mean, there's not really much you can do. It's a terrible matchup for you. It also helps you not go neg on like hand, which is like a big problem with not running a level 1 combo. Being able to like field a dolphin every turn, resonate, bounce it back to hand. Yeah, you're taking an extra damage. An extra damage is worth a card though, and clocking is worth because clocking is worth a card. And then a stock is worth a card as well. No. Yeah, stock is also worth a card. So you have like... Well, you're not playing bonds, I think, in the meta build, but you are playing like other things that get you cards, like the brainstorms. And if you're compressed enough and you through the alpacas, your brainstorms are likely to hit to help you recoup losses. Not really sure what else I can say about this, other than the fact that as long as I do think that you do need to field one of these every turn, though. Like I said, because it lets you clock draw and always maintain a board. Because that is the big problem with the climax that I think that you should play the standby with the stock soul, is you are going to go neck hand quite a bit without something that bounces back to hand or gives you pluses. Now I want to get into like this is the only other relevant card. I don't know if you play this. Some people might like it as a one-of to be able to keep more consistent boards. It gives all of your friends a hand encore. That's about it. This is a really outdated card profile from forever ago. I don't think it's relevant, but some people, if they really like big boards, because there are like a lot of really strong level 2s in this set, and like 3s. Having hand encore might be relevant. Not really much to say about it though. This is a good promo. It's got on death, pay 1, pitch a card, look at top 3 cards, add 1 to hand, put the rest in waiting room. It lets you get climaxes. It lets you dig through your deck. It lets you pay out like a dirty stock. It's not a terrible promo. It lets you not have to splash blue to get an effect like this. I don't think you play it though. And then if you're really just trying to sack the shit out of people, I think you play this promo. On play it mills top 2, and you get to choose one of your friends, and that character gains X power. It's 1,500 times the level of the cards put in the waiting room. This has a ceiling of 9,000 power to a single card. Yeah, 9,000 extra power from a level 0. Kemono friends might have like the most ridiculous power game I've ever seen. At least like on offense at low levels. I don't think there's really room for it, and like you're also like there's like a 50% chance almost that you're gonna hit like 2 zeros or something that's like only 1,500. I don't think it's the best card. It can just randomly sack people. Now I want to get into the cards that I think are kind of just like traps, right? I think they're cards that seem good, and they're not bad. They're not bad cards at all. I just don't think that they're as good as like what other people say they are. I think it's this one. Yeah, it's this one because it's the X. Okay, so what we have here is like this little combo that a lot of people like. No, I think this goes with the combo. You have this Fennec at her own pace, which has a bond to your common raccoon, which is your level 1 game that a lot of people are liking because it's stock charge. and it gives the raccoon 2,000 power. Okay, it makes the raccoon huge. It is very good for like on your turn getting over walls, and it does have the bond, which bond is a very good like it's a very strong mechanic because it lets you trade like stock instead of damage to gain advantage. And then you got this common raccoon, always full power. If you play the climax... Oh, by the way, you don't even need the climax to give this 2,000. This thing can just be, like, massive on your turn, even without a climax. But if you do have the climax, it gains 1,000 power and the ability to put the top card of your stock, or like a character from your waiting room into your stock when it reverses something. And it also has an ability that when this Kaban dies, you get to pitch a card to play it from the waiting room. So... basically, you have a way to bond this from hand, and you have a way to basically bond it on death by pitching. Okay, so you can choose like how you allocate your resources to it. The problem I have with this combo is I don't like stock charging like this, because if I trigger a climax on the first attack, right? Because like sometimes you do have bad luck, right? I mean that's part of Weiss, and the goal is to minimize that bad luck. If you put a climax under on the first attack, and you have like 2 of these out, that climax is going to be 4 deep at the end of the turn. Is it right? Yeah, 4 deep. Maybe 5. 4. 4 if you have 2. There is no way you're going to play that climax out. And if you trigger a second climax, it's even worse. Yeah, so then we look at it from the side of the other thing. So playing a climax is an egg 1 on hand. You play 2 of these, they die at the end of the turn, because you're not playing walls. Most people play this with this otter here. This otter gives on attack, reveal top. It gives it 1,000 power times the number of friends. I'm not sure why you play this. I mean, like, it helps you get over some absurd walls. But this otter also dies on the backswing. The problem is all of these cards die on the backswing, right? This raccoon is not living. It's 4/5. This otter, 4/5 as well. Has hand encore. Doesn't even matter, has hand encore. Because you still need the hand, and you're not replacing the hand. You're playing 3 cards on the board. You're playing down a climax. You're using 4 resources out of hand. They all die. And then your only option to get them back, or to get cards back, is the clock draw, taking a damage, and to use bonds, which use stock. You just paid for the stock, right? You just paid the stock that you use the climax to get your card with. So you don't even really plus here. I don't know like what the end goal is with this combo. And if you're running like this like otter, and you're running this, you don't really have a lot of room for other level 1 stuff. You don't even have like the ability to put like a wall down that might get to live on the backswing or anything like that. This is just like a really fragile thing that dies. Yeah, that's my main problem. I'd rather have something like the alpaca where I get to choose like where my stock goes. I have a little bit more control over paying stuff out rather than, oh shit, I decided to double or tri-field raccoon, and then I trigger 3 climaxes and there's absolutely no way to get them out. Just something I want to think. And then I don't think the raccoon is the worst, because it can be comboed with the owl, but then you lose your ability to play finishers, right? The owl has -1 level. It combos with the card the raccoon combos with, so you're gonna be running that anyway in a green deck. And then when you play it, you can pitch a card from your hand, and then play a friend whose level is equal to your level. Okay, so this triggers because it's played from hand. It's basically a costless. You trade a card in your hand to play a card, instead of using stock, helping you maintain better compression. And it also triggers on play effects, so like your bonds that heal, that search events, all of those trigger. I think that's good. And then the big thing is the fact that, like I said, you're going to be bleeding hand so hard with green when all of your cards die on the backswing, unless you splash like Blue Dolphin. Oh man, I kind of like that card too much. When you play the climax that goes with it, it's a 2k one. It splits 2k power and 1 soul to 2 different lanes. You can search your library for 2 friends and put them in your hand. So if you have 2 or 3 of these out, you can get 4 to 6 cards out of your deck. Now, what I don't like about this, so you're stock charging, right? Your goal's going to be pretty compressed, right? And then you play this climax before you attack. Before you attack, it's when the climax is played. And then you start ripping cards out of your deck. That's a double-edged sword, because the more compressed you are, not only are you more likely to cancel damage, you're also more likely to trigger climaxes, which then in turn hurts your compression. I mean, I could see like tri-fielding this, ripping 6 cards out of my deck, and then triggering 3 climaxes and just crying. But that's just like what I think. I haven't honestly got to play with the owls too much. My friend has been playing around with that deck, the raccoon deck. He's had a lot of issues with hand, which is why I wanted to say that, like, I don't think it's the best option. It's like a fun option, but it's not the best. And I'm not really going to talk about PPP in this video, because I think everyone realizes that PPP is just like a thing that you play if you like it. Nobody's really trying to play that to be meta, I don't think. It's definitely like one of the weakest options that Kemono Friends has. But that's my real thoughts on Kemono Friends. If you disagree with any card choices that I said were good, or think that like ones that I said were bad were good, make sure to tell me. Tell me why. I'm always down to, try to understand like what it is that other people see in cards. And then also, is there a card that I overlooked? Is there like, oh no, maybe some dank card that you think is amazing, like Cerulean? You play the Cerulean card. Maybe anything else that you think is good, and share your deck list, please. Please share your deck list. I wanna see how other people are building Kemono Friends. Because yeah, I don't really have the time to play test everything that I want to. But until next time, this is Serio Tenon signing out.